Eorzea, a realm with a rich and troubled history. For more than 8 years now, it has served us highs and lows, laughter and sorrow. It has proven to be the perfect setting for a grand high fantasy adventure. However, we often forget where it all began. The tales of an era lost to time. This series will tackle those stories and bring them back into the light. In this first episode, we'll open the book on Limsa Lominsa's page and her early chapters. This is Chronicles of a Realm, Treasures of the Main. Accessing Archives. Welcome, Eorzean. To tell the tale of the Treasures of the Main, we have to take a few steps back to your arrival. Chapter 1. Shapeless Melody. You find yourself aboard a ship headed to the maritime city-state of Limsa Lominsa. The seas are rough this evening. The ship is rocking so hard that people aboard, adventurers, pirates, and merchants, find it hard to even stand upright. You're half asleep on the floor as the soft sound of a voice singing wakes you up.
Feel. Think.
However, upon looking around you, you cannot find the source of the voice. A burly Rogadin with an eye patch on his left eye enters the room. He's chugging down a bottle of wine while complaining about the rough seas. Upon asking the man of the source of the singing, he tells you that he had heard nothing of the sort. You decide to venture up on deck to see if the songstress might have gone topside. You discover a mysterious mist coming down the stairs. You're jolted back to reality as you realize the ship has been caught in a mighty storm. The ship's crew is struggling to keep the ship steady.
All hands to foredeck!
Hurry back to your cabin, lest you become the sea's expert.
She won't hold much longer!
A brave man.
Suddenly, Beast from the Deep, more specifically Aurelia, starts climbing the decks, and you find yourself in the midst of a battle.
Mind the stations, men! Stow the damn goblins!
Gods forfend.
The mysterious Mikote you just met on deck assists you and the Rogadin in charge. There's something familiar about him. but you just can't put your finger on it.
Make yourself useful, Scrag.
The Aurelia suddenly stop attacking and starts to abandon ship. More Aurelia jump from the sea only to rush across the decks to the other side. Something is coming.
What's going on?
Never seen anything like it.
Brace yourself!
A sea serpent.
So believe.
The following day, the ship finally enters Galadian Bay. You have arrived in Limsa Lominsa.
Limsa Lominsa! A sight for me sore eyes!
Said to be blessed by the goddess of navigation, Limlane, the city is spread out over countless tiny islands, each connected by sturdy bridges of iron and wood construction, earning her the name the Navigator's Vale, from traveling bards who have witnessed the city's beauty from afar.
The Skywatchers saw a storm along their route.
I get to be first assessor. No fair!
Although relieved to have made it to shore alive, many mysteries still remain. The biggest one being the colossal beast you witnessed leaping forth from the depths and nearly destroying the ship. With safe ground under your feet, you begin looking for someone who could shed some light on the events that occurred on your journey. The mystery deepens, however, as the passengers do recall the storm, but do not recall any sea serpent or the mysterious Mikote. You meet up with the captain of the ship, Hob, at the docks. He tells you about the rough storm, but does not mention the serpent with a single word. He tells you to follow him to the Drowning Wench, to meet up with the leader of the Adventurers Guild. Chapter 2: Treasures of the Main. You enter a tavern called the Drowning Wench, also known as the Adventurers Guild. In many ways, the heart of Limsa Lominsa. It is here you meet the proprietor, Baderon Tenfingers, son of none other than Lodewickus, the founder of the Adventurers Guild. Baderon welcomes you with a word of warning. Eorzea is no place for the light of heart. The realm is plagued with beastmen and the constant threat of imperial invasion. Upon telling Baderon about the sea serpent, he explains that you're not the first adventurer to make such a claim. You sense a sharp vibration, air, stirring. Y'shtola enters the tavern. She tells Baderon that she wants information about a certain treasure, but he tells her that the treasure is said to have been buried away on a tiny island by the name of Seal Rock. The island itself being under heavy guard by the Knights of the Barracuda and the Scholars of Melvan's Gate. Baderon explains that there's a war going on between rival factions in Limsa Lominsa. Roswin's Sanguine Sirens and Carvelane's Kraken's Arms. They are both constantly attempting to assassinate the recently inaugurated Admiral Merlwydd Blofuswyn. However, in true pirate style, they're simply too busy attacking each other to actually get to the Admiral herself. In addition to this turmoil, Limsa is experiencing increased pressure from the newly arrived Sahagin that came ashore only 5 years ago. Y'shtola asks of the Empire, in which Baderon replies that Garlemald is simply waiting for Limsa Lominsa to tear itself apart and swoop in to pick up the remains when all is done. Y'shtola takes her leave. The air vibrates, and Baderon moves to the bar counter. Here he tells you to find a suitable guild and get to work. Baderon notices a balloonfish that you kept after the encounter on the ship, and advises you to head to Camp Bearded Rock. He even marks it on your map. Before you depart, Baderon also hands over a link pearl, a pearl that allows people to communicate with each other over long distances. Call me on the ether, as they say. You head off to your first quest. Camp Bearded Rock is Limsa Lominsa's closest aetheroid camp, just a few yalms from Sapphire Gate. Shortly after attuning to the crystal, Baderon contacts you through the link pearl, he calls you on the ether to tell you to visit the Culinarians Guild to sell your balloonfish to earn some much needed gil. So to the Bismarck you go, and the guild leader, Lingsath, is more than excited about the balloonfish. However, it would seem the Bismarck's regulars are less impressed with the fish if they were to try to serve it. The air vibrates yet again, and Y'shtola is suddenly next to you. She questions why the Bismarck's patrons would find the fish inauspicious. Could it be because it appeared on the ship's deck just as the giant serpent jumped out of the sea? This piques Lingsath's interest. He explains that the story of a sea serpent is often mentioned in Limsa Lominsa's historical records, one that crushes ships and swallows whole crews in a single gulp. The story goes that the creature guards a mountain of gold and diamonds. Whoever finds it gets to rule the seas for all their days. Treasure, like the one rumored to be hidden on Seal Rock. Y'shtola leaves the Bismarck. The air vibrates yet again, and she is gone. You make your way to the Coral Tower and the Musketeers Guild. You've been told that the Knights of the Barracuda are recruiting adventurers for enlistment in a provisional unit. The Coral Tower receptionist, Isidorel, tells you to visit the downstairs area to learn more. A Barracuda Knight is quick to point out that you lack a firearm. Raynor, a high-ranking officer of the Barracudas, quickly orders the knight to hand his weapon over to you. Aiming your weapon, Raynor gives you a look of both shock and confusion. The air suddenly vibrates again like before. A Rogadon by the name of Manscone quickly pulls the musket out of your hands and reprimands Raynor for handing a weapon to a mere civilian. He barks a few weird insults at you before advising you to apply for the 5th levy. Before you can muster a response, Stallman, the leader of the Barracudas and the man you met on deck en route to Limsa Lominsa, enters the room. An adventurer by the name of Meridolan has defeated another adventurer in combat, and Stallman tells Manscone that they've most likely found a new recruit. The air vibrates once again as Stallman leaves the room. Raynor, still seemingly upset after the musket incident, asks you to show more discretion with your firing stance, questioning who taught you that particular stance. He orders you back up to the admissions desk. When arriving at the admissions desk and Isidorel, he is perplexed at the request to join the 5th levy. Before he can continue, the air vibrates once again. Manscone is already addressing a crowd nearby, telling everyone that the Seal Rock unit has been filled and none of those presents were in it. Closing statement being that there's always room on the 5th. It is at this moment we encounter a masked man named Emmerich. Although there is little to note of this encounter, we do learn that he's part of Carvelane's crew, Kraken's Arms. As you're about to leave the Coral Tower, Isidore emerges from downstairs and questions your motives, claiming that you smell like a pirate, asking if you're trying to deceive them the way Emmerich did earlier. He then asks you to follow him back to the desk for questioning. The air vibrates once again. Isidore suddenly recalls that you got registered in the Adventurers Guild. He then requests you to return the weapon handed over to you earlier by one of the knights on the lower floor. But that was already returned, so you don't have it. Well, it was practically ripped out of your hands by Sergeant Manscone. Isidore is once again perplexed. Why would he not tell him that? Isidore gives you permission to leave, but since you're still under investigation, forbid you to leave Limsa Lominsa until the investigation into the weapon is complete. Baderon contacts you again via Link Pearl, instructing you to visit Fisherman's Bottom and the Fishers Guild to learn more about the backbone of Limsa Lominsa, the Pullers, the city's hard-working fishermen and women. Almost immediately upon speaking to the guild receptionist, she asks you to assist the guild in investigating Auchan's Torch, a very important lighthouse for the Pullers east of Limsa Lominsa. Serpent Reavers, pirates that have defected to the Sahagin side, have reportedly taken control of the area and are attacking anyone attempting to get anywhere near it. The Barracudas were dispatched to restore law and order, but not even the mighty Barracudas could send them packing. So for whatever reason, she asks you, of all people, to go check on the lighthouse, as their own people don't really wield anything but fishing rods and throwing nets. Before you get to answer, a voice looms out across the hall, and you turn and look down as a Lalafell by the name of Wawalago walks towards you with Sisipu following behind him. He tells you that they are as short on hands as he is on height, because the Pullers are all away trying to stave off the Sahagin who are encroaching on Lominsan territories, making fishing difficult. Auchan's Torch is their latest victory. After it fell to the Sahagin, the Candlekeeps have been unable to light it, and ships are in danger of running into the shallow shoals near the shores. To return the lighthouse to Lominsan hands, Wawalago hired the services of a band of adventurers to accompany a party of pullers to protect the area, and now he wishes to do the same with you for Sisipu. Sisipu, on the other hand, is not impressed. She claims she can fend for herself, calling you a malnourished starveling of an adventurer, which is quite rude, I guess. Anyway, her point is that she does not believe you're much help to begin with. She might as well go alone. Wawalago reassures Sisipu that you're merely there to act as a distraction so that she can run away to safety should anything try to attack you. And so the deal is struck. Sisipu offers some advice. If you spot a Sahagin, drop everything you're holding and run. Serpent Reavers being the worst kind, people that sold their souls to the Sahagin for a few bars of gold and the promise of endless carnage. This makes it hard to know who's friend or foe, as they appear to be normal folk until you have a dagger in your back. But the guild has found an effective way to identify fellow pullers, a series of hand signals. The secret signals went as follows: bow, clap, congratulate, poke, joy, and wave. With the hand signals learned, you're ready to leave for Auchan's Torch with Sisipu. Before you go, however, Sisipu offers a final warning. If the Serpent Reavers catch you, they'll rip out your lungs and cut your lifeless body into the sea for their slimy spawn to feast upon, while your tattered soul experiences the first pangs of an eternity of agony in the abyssal depths. And so you both head towards whatever awaits at Auchan's Torch. And that's where we'll have to end this first part of Chronicles of a Realm, Treasures of the Main. This is a bit of a pilot episode, so I hope you enjoyed this format. Let me know in the comments what you think about it, and if there's something you want me to add, remove, or change in the coming episodes. If all goes to plan, the next episode will be out in about a month. That's when we'll get to the dramatic conclusion of Treasures of the Main. Thank you for watching, see you in the next part, and may you ever walk in the light of the crystal.